hens. I forgot to record an introduction, but I hope you enjoyed the video. So we start this building off with the actual outside bits of it. The exterior, I think, is what I titled this. But honestly, I was really struggling to come up with the architecture. I don't know, the outside building, this is before I put any of the objects in and anything like that. This was just mainly trying to get a grasp of like what the actual building would look like. And for a lot of this, I did actually do a lot of research, guys. I did actually put my simusy into this a little bit. And I was looking through so many pictures of concept art. There's a lot of concept art that went into Wednesday. And, you know, there's a lot of concept art that goes into everything, not just Wednesday, but this specifically, I was looking at the concept art for Wednesday and a lot of it was really, really cool. What was difficult is I think some of it is like part CGI and some of it is also real buildings. So, and then obviously together, the amalgamation of that is Nevermore Academy as we see in Wednesday. But then in terms of actually building it in The Sims, it was quite difficult because we didn't have a floor plan. One thing about me, I can work off a floor plan like you wouldn't believe. I'm really good with a floor plan. But I had to kind of look at different images and work out the floor plan for myself, and that I am not very good at. One thing I always say about, because sometimes people say to me like, how do I get good building in The Sims? And I think I'm a builder that can do good things. I don't think I'm an inherently good builder. And I really believe that because I can't build in The Sims 3 or The Sims 2. But The Sims 4, I can still build very good at. But one of my top tricks is that I always say, go and find floor plans online because people have actually went to school to do stuff like that. And then you're kind of copying off their good work. I mean, but you're not making money from it. It's like just for in The Sims, it's for personal stuff. And then naturally, the more that you do and the more that you build up, you kind of learn where people put things, where people wouldn't put things. So I feel like I've done okay with it because I kind of had that background knowledge of it, and I kind of had to imagine where things would go. And I went through so many pictures of different things, and not all concept art was the same either. Some concept art featured different areas, some concept art had different areas than others, but still featured the same kind of areas. So it was kind of difficult knowing what to prioritize and actually include into the builds and like which concept art to lean upon. But there is one picture of concept art that I did use quite heavily, and that kind of formed my basis of understanding of where to put all of the buildings. But it was still difficult, especially because my builds tend to be like fun, chaotic type of things. Yeah, just kind of average that you might find in just your general neighborhood. That's what my type of builds tend to be. So this is probably one of the biggest undertakings that I've took so far as a simmer, and I've built every single world 3 times. So this was definitely something new and challenging for me. So I did have to leave some things out. Unfortunately, I decided to focus on the entrance part that's featured in a lot of things, and it's featured in a lot of images about Nevermore Academy. The bit with the big doors, and it's tall. I'll put images on the screen and stuff like that to help, you know, you develop your understanding, because my words clearly aren't doing good. But yeah, I left that in. And also there's like a big bit at the back, and I thought, well, I'll include that. And I included that, and I included a bit on the side as well. But then I kind of had to make up where they belonged. And one limitation that we have in The Sims 4 is I'm pretty sure it's only like 4 stories high you can go. But obviously there's a lot of different stories in Nevermore Academy, and a lot of them are a lot taller than 4 stories high. So I had to cheat a little bit. I had to be creative with it, as you might say. And for the back building, because it's so further back, and I kind of wanted that illusion that, you know, there was such different stories in Nevermore Academy, I used just a foundation and made it really, really tall. I wish that we could place more than 4 or maybe 5 stories high in The Sims 4, but alas, we cannot. But you know what? It's not the only thing you can't do in The Sims 4, so add it to the list, babe. Add it to the list. So those are the things that I decided to keep in. But then, obviously, there are things that I had to leave out as well. And one of the main things that I decided to leave out was the entire part with the rowing scene. And I didn't want to leave that out because I loved the rowing scene, actually. I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed that time. But I decided to leave it out because I thought, you know what? Technically, we're not in the Wednesday world right now. We're in the Sims world, right? This is Sims canon. So I thought, well, canonically, they can just go to another lot and that can be the rowing scene. The rowing scene doesn't necessarily have to fit in on this lot. I do wish I could have made it work, but unfortunately, I didn't make it work. It could not work. And then I had to leave out other things, obviously, like the cave that had to be left out. Also, the crypt. She was not available in this world. I really do apologise. And also, obvious things like the coffee shop and Pilgrim World. I had to leave those out as well, purely just for space. In an ideal world, it would be The Sims 3, and I could just put loads of lots next to each other and kind of give the illusion that it is kind of the same world. But unfortunately, unfortunately, it's not The Sims 3, it's The Sims 4, and I didn't have the ability to do that. But one thing that really made me sad is two things that are left out that I wish I could have found room for is the bird keeping. The beekeeping hut, I really would have loved that to have come in, but I did kind of put a nod to that in later when I do the decorating. There's a little outside courtyard area, and I did put a little beekeeper station there just as a nod to it. And I also left out the art shed thing because I thought, what do I want to see? Do I want to see the herbology department? I know that's not the actual name of it, but I can't think of anything else to call it apart from the herbology department. Do I want to keep in the herbology department or the art shed? And I thought, you know what? The herbology greenhouse. That's the word for it, the greenhouse. That's what, you know what? So many words have been on the tip of my tongue, tip of the tongue, teeth and the lips, and they just haven't come to fruition. But here they are, demanding that they be known. Thank you to my brain for supplying them. And then there are some things that I found difficult as well with this. Like this build, it pushed me a lot creatively, and I do feel like I learned a lot creatively as a builder as well. I build quite in my comfort zone, and my comfort zone tends to be chaos, but this was chaos in an entirely different way. This did make me a much better builder. One thing that I found difficult, and I'm not necessarily happy with it even at the end of it, is the outside of Wednesday and Enid's bedroom, because obviously they have a beautiful bedroom. I mean, I don't know how much their tuition must be, but that is one stunning piece of plot on that build. But yeah, it was really difficult to do that, and I don't know if it was just a Sims 4 limitation or a me limitation. I tried a couple of different options with it, and I don't know, it just wasn't quite vibing. Maybe if I keep on building huge builds like this, I might get better at stuff. But yeah, it just didn't flow, because it almost feels like Wednesday and Enid's bedroom comes out of the roof almost, and it was quite hard for me to replicate that in The Sims 4. But and I'm not sure why. I think it might have been because of the things underneath it as well, because there was a platform and everything underneath it. I don't know. But, and the window as well, I guess, in their room, because there wasn't a window that was quite big enough for it, because I used really tall walls as well. So there was a Realm of Magic mirror, but it didn't have the 1/2 black and white and the 1/2 colourful side. So I decided to just put 2 colourful windows in and 2 black and white windows in. And I thought, well, do you know what? That's the best that we can do in this situation. We soldier on. So that's what I done with there. I think all in all, their bedroom might have been a little bit too big. I'm not sure. But do you know what? It was built, and I thought it's going to be too much to change it all now. So I just had to go with it. And then another huge challenge for me was also the roofing of the courtyard. Like I said, my builds tend to just be chaotic, but also in the same way something that you could just find in your regular neighborhood. And the diagonal roofing, I struggled, besties. I struggled. I edited out of the video because it was like 10 minutes of me struggling trying to find a way to make these roofs work. I did eventually make them work though, but yeah, that was a huge struggle, but I eventually figured it out. Do I necessarily think I could replicate it? That is a tough question, Your Honour. That is a tough question. I can't even really remember what I done with it, but diagonal building in The Sims 4 is just difficult anyway. A lot of things start breaking when you start building diagonally, and it did happen a couple of times, but we managed to get it to work in the end, so really happy with that. And then I thought it might, honestly, when it got to the time to like put the wallpaper on and the windows, I actually thought it might look a little bit plain, but it started to really come together as soon as I started putting the wallpaper and windows on the outside. I was like, this is nice. Yeah, it really fit. The only thing that I think was a little bit is just the lighting in The Sims 4, because obviously I did pick autumn because I wanted the lighting to be a little bit more darker and mysterious because it's Wednesday and she is a goth bitch. But yeah, the lighting kind of makes it look a bit too bright and cheery. I don't know if I'll put lighting over it in the actual build, so as you see it now, I'll have like darker lighting in. I don't know. But yeah, that was definitely a limitation of it. It kind of made it look less like ghostly and gothic and kind of made it, I don't know. So yeah, I would change the lighting if I could. I unfortunately could not. So, and just as an announcement, I want to make everybody well aware, please save your game consistently if you're doing builds like this. I was just freeballing it, balls to the wall, couldn't give a fuck, raw dogging my save file, and then please make sure that you save it, otherwise bad things will happen. Bad things being your game will crash, which happened to me just a little bit after this. So the next bit that you'll be seeing is landscaping, and it was not the original landscaping. I had to redo the landscaping. But yeah, that's the outside bit of it, the exterior, the architecture. The word's gone from my mind again, and that was everything that I put in. It was a real challenge, but it also felt really good to be challenged. I think all in all, I spent 3 days building this, and I think it was like 9 hours. I'm not sure, but about that ball mark. And I had a great time. You know, I watched some Christmas films while I was building it as well. One with Chad Michael Murray, and actually I'm not going to spoil other thing, but it was a great plot twist to me. By great, I meant the film was a bit shit, but you know what? I enjoyed it nonetheless, babe. I enjoyed it nonetheless. So yeah, that was the exterior. This bit took about 2 hours in and of itself to build, and she was a lot. But I hope that you like the exterior. Now it is time to move on to the next part. Also, let me know if you guys have watched Wednesday. I'm pretty sure literally everybody's watched Wednesday right now, but let me know if you haven't. And if you haven't, why? Not as a, why not, bitch? Just a, oh, how come? Is it not your scene? Because it's very much my scene, and I would like to know why it's not yours. Respectfully. I don't want you to argue. I'm not trying to start an argument with you, babe. I'm just genuinely trying to show an interest in your life. Now we move on to landscaping, and I'm going to be honest with you, besties, this is not said as a way to put me down. I'm not putting myself down when I say this. I'm just not a very confident landscaper. I think I've done a decent job with this, but I'm just not confident with it. It's not something that I feel like, for example, I know that if I put my heart to it, I can do a good build. You know what I mean? Like I can do a good floor plan. But landscaping, I'm like, I feel so unconfident. Well, I feel so insecure, shall we say, about every single bit that I put down, because I don't know if it's just like where I live. Maybe it's because it's the fact that I was like born and raised northeast of England, and English houses, none of us really have landscaping, where I feel like in America, so many houses as like detached and have great landscaping, and yeah, and it's just not something that I see. I don't know, that's deep in it a little bit, I guess, but also it's just not something that I tend to do with my builds that much. I shy away from landscaping. I'm just not confident about it at all. But I knew that, you know, landscaping was kind of, because it's such a big build, landscaping was kind of going to have to play a big part in this. Otherwise, it would just make it look naked, should we say. And we don't want to see a naked build, you naughty naughty, you teasing me, you naughty naughty. So I decided to pull out the big guns. And by the big guns, I mean debug. And to make debug work, because for some reason, debug has always worked for me perfectly. But when I'm doing a build as huge as this, debug said, nah, I'm out. And for some reason, only like a select few objects in debug were showing up. Do not know why. So I reinstalled the organized debug cheat, which is a very, very, very good cheat. Well, it's a mod anyway that you can download. It's by Twisted Mexi, and that basically organized debug for me, which made my life so much easier. And I got to use a lot of debug things from like vampires and Realm of Magic, which really helped sell the story for me, because obviously The Sims 4 is like a real life simulator, so a lot of the things are all like cheery, like bright green and everything, where I wanted this to look a little bit more haunted, and the lighting so far wasn't making it look haunted. So I do think that debug came through with me on that fact. Thank you, debug. And another sneaky little debug thing that I used as well was, there's a debug statue of Vlad from Vampires, and with debug objects as well, if you place them, Sims can just walk through them. They don't really class them as real objects. So I put the Vlad statue in the entryway to the, I forget what the secret society is called all the time. The amount of time I've Googled it. It's not the Raven, no, that's the book, the Raven Cycle. But basically the secret society entrance, it's got that statue, and I put the Vlad statue there because then your Sims would be able to walk through it. And I thought that was pretty clever of you, bitch. So yeah, wasn't very confident with landscaping, but I do feel like I've done a good job here, pushed myself a lot here. I also incorporated things from Get to Work, like the alien plants and everything, and I also think I included some Strange Town stuff in there. Honestly, I just went ham. I just put things absolutely everywhere, especially around the edges of it, because I kind of wanted it to have an overgrown look to kind of keep the normies at bay. I wanted it to look scary, you know, and I think that I managed it. To say that I'm not good with landscaping, or that I'm not confident with landscaping, I do feel more confident after it, because I kind of just spammed it, which for me is my way of landscaping. It helped me feel confident. So if in doubt, spam it out, babe. That's my that's my advice if you're like me and you also don't feel confident with landscaping. But you can get through it together. If anybody does have any tips on landscaping though, I would really like you to leave them in the description as well, because like I said, it's just not something that I feel confident at. I would like to feel more confident with it. So please help a bitch out. Now it's time for the courtyard / secret society / greenhouse. First off, let's start with the courtyard. In terms of the build, I like how the courtyard turned out in terms of the build. In terms of the decorating, I don't like how it turned out. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I was overthinking it too much, and that's something that I do a lot in builds, especially when I watch like video recordings back and I can see how much I'm overthinking something. I'm like, bitch, just slow down. And I think that definitely came into play here. I think I had just put too many objects in. Yeah, I think I deep deeped it too much, especially because it's like a smaller place than it is in the TV show. I was trying to do too much. I was trying to do way too much. One thing I do like about this, though, how it ended up turning out, was the fountain. Because originally I just put a normal fountain in, and then I was watching lots of interviews and everything about the design of this to try and get as much information as I could. The tree was a big thing in it, which I'm going to be honest, during the film of it, I didn't even notice that. Maybe that is an error on my part. Deeply apologise. So I thought, well, do you know what? I'll put a fountain in, but have the tree coming out of it, like the vampire's tree. And that turned out well. And then I also decided to do something a little sneaky. I used little lights and hid them in the fountain, so then when it's nighttime, it lights up. And I decided to do this in terms of like a hint towards the thing that Wednesday will come back and ruin the school, and it's all red in the painting and everything. So that's a little homage to that, and I like how that turned out, just a sneaky little nod to the TV show. And then the Secret Society as well. This one, actually, I thought this one would be really difficult because it's like an octagonal room or whatever. I've always really struggled with like octagonal, hexagonal. Is hexagon 5 and octagon's 8, isn't it? Because of an octopus. Yeah, I always really struggled with them. I also really struggled with nouns, verbs, adverb, and stuff like that, and adjectives. Really struggled with that. Anyway, this one came out so good. Thought it would be a struggle, and it was actually a great time. I felt like this one just came quite natural to me. I love this style so much. Like, this would be my honestly, if I could just live there, I would absolutely live there. That one is my shit to a T, babe. And I also think this one turned out really good. I loved how it felt so easy as well. Like, everything was just kind of falling into place. I was like, this is my jam, bitch. I loved it. It was a great time. Wild animals, wild rides. So that's my new vocal stem, apparently. And I tried to be a little bit sneaky in this one and include, you know, where Uncle Fester reaches behind the picture and finds the lock thing. I tried to include that in. I was like, there's literally nothing that I could think of to make a fucking lock. So I just thought, you know what, Uncle Fester, I'm so sorry, not being represented in this one. Uncle Fester is represented in my life anyway, because my dad looks exactly like Uncle Fester, and I really do believe that. So I don't need to include a Fester in this one because we got a Fester at home. So yeah, Secret Society turned out beautifully. I really liked how it turned out. Also, it was a little bit easy because it was a basement as well, so I didn't really have to think about the outside of it. GG at me. And it's also got a little secret doorway and staircase going down to it as well. And then for the greenhouse, I had the best time in this one as well. Like the Secret Society, I was like, you know when you kind of shock yourself and you're like, this is going too well. This is going too well. But I had the best time with it. Originally, I was kind of struggling with it because I thought, this is not going to be big enough. This is actually too small for what I want to do with it. But I decided to put it on a bit of an angle, and it kind of worked. I didn't have the space to put in a lot of desks, but yeah, I still had space to put in some desks, and I decided to go with like bar stools because it kind of reminded me of like biology. And you know, in biology in secondary school where you have the tall desks and then the stools, why did we have those? Because they were really deeply uncomfortable for me. I think those they are the bane of my existence. But yeah, I decided to put that in there, and I'm honestly just obsessed with how it turned out. I didn't go too wild on the clutter. I just kind of put enough clutter in there to make it look like students are actually there. And I also put some vet kits on there as well to make it look like they were dissecting the plants and stuff like that. But overall, it turned out so well. There is also a lot of other, this is a fully built school as well. There's just a lot of things that I didn't include because I thought I would rather focus the time on showing you things that are actually shown within the school, like within the TV show. The rest of it is entirely built. Like, there's so many classrooms and a cafeteria and stuff like that, which I'm going to give a tour at the end so you can see how it all came together. But I didn't decide to include it on this. I decided to focus on the stuff that you've already seen. But yeah, all in all, the courtyard, I think I overthought it. I think it just should have been a lot simpler than it was. The Secret Society, I am moving in. I'm officially paying rent. And then the greenhouse, great. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if it would work as a high school. It does have each classroom does have the lesson board things on there, but I haven't actually tried to see if it works as a high school yet, but it potentially could. And you've got dorms there, so you don't even need to leave. Do you know what I mean? And then we have the final bits of the speed build, which is the office, the rave and dance, and Enid and Wednesday's bedroom. So first for the office, I actually really tried to translate this realistically as I could. So I had an image up and I was just like looking in the direction of it and just trying to recreate the image. And I think I've done a pretty good job. Obviously, there was sides of the office that I couldn't really see. And I had a lot of difficulty with the windows. I did manage to figure out a way around the windows though, because with the windows, I just kind of made a fake wall and like done the background, like turned around and put white covers behind the windows and then a red cover in the front of the window. And they also used the realm of magic to kind of replicate the Medusa style fireplace. And I think that turned out pretty well. And I also love to see how much Gwendolyn Christie has absolutely taken over TikTok. One thing I love about Gen Z, like obviously there's bad things about TikTok. It's rampant for bullying. The bullying's bad on there. But just as there's bad things on TikTok, there's like such good things on TikTok as well. And one thing I love about Gen Z is how much they're just redefining so many social things. And as an autistic bitch where social things are a bit of a undisclosed thing to me that I don't really understand, I love to see people just completely taking over their own definition of it, especially like with femininity, because as someone who I've never, like inside I felt quite feminine, but I don't think I'm that feminine by media standards. Like I've got quite a rough accent. I think my accent is quite like mask. A lot of people interpret it that way. For me, this is just my voice. I don't really think about it. And I've got quite like, I'm quite wide built. Like I've got wide shoulders, and just seeing like people redefining femininity and also the female gaze, how present that is, how much more it's appreciated now, considering like when I was growing up. It's beautiful. It's a lovely thing to see. I think Gen Z are doing absolutely great. I think I'm on like the older cusp of Gen Z and the younger cusp of millennial. Like I don't really feel like I quite fit into either. But yeah, I'm really proud of Gen Z. I love Gen Z. I think they're doing absolutely great. I'm excited to see where they go. Gen Z, this one's for you, babe. This one is for you. And then the rave and dance as well. I mean, I had to include it. What else could I say? I didn't have the Carrie moment in this build though. I just kept it, before the disaster. But it's still there. It's still there. I had to include it. I had to. And I really tried to go in with the Yeti theme of it. I really tried to keep it all blue and everything. I really tried to raise awareness for the global climate. I'm talking out my ass. And then for Enid and Wednesday's bedroom, I do think that it was too big. I think I definitely could have done with making this a little bit smaller, but all of the other rooms around it were already built and there wasn't really much I could do with it. But yeah, I decided to keep it as it was. And it's also weird to see how plain Wednesday's side is. And I did try and keep it like quite realistic to how it was in the TV show. So maybe it's just that I didn't translate as well into The Sims. It does feel a little bit plain, especially in comparison with Enid's side of the bedroom. That it's definitely a lot more plain. But yeah, I tried to go all out with Enid's side of the bedroom as well. I really relate to Enid. One thing about me, I fucking love anything stuffed, including stuffing the food. So me and Enid. But I also really relate to Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? One thing about me, if I see an autistic coded bitch, I'm going to be able to relate to her. I think Wednesday and Enid are both autistic. This is my opinion. I like seeing people who are like me. But yeah. Also, a lot of people have been asking me about, what's the ship name? Is it Winkler? Wenclair? I think it's Wenclair, isn't it? A lot of people have been asking me about that. First and foremost, I don't ship Wednesday with any of the male characters in the show. I think that they should just be friends. I think you can just be friends with someone of the opposite sex. I don't think you necessarily need to be shipped with them. I feel like the love triangle felt a little bit forced as well, because I'm like, Wednesday is either clearly into Enid or Wednesday is either clearly Aero Ace. Like, she's given absolutely she's shown nothing that she's actually into any of the male love interests. She's so obviously Aero Ace. So yeah, I either think that she's in love with Enid or I think that she's Aero Ace. I think that the love part of it felt really disjointed to the rest of the film. I'm like, Wednesday is a murderous little bitch. Like, she clearly shows that she doesn't show that many emotions apart from towards her family and like people really close to her. When that guy was like, he keep giving me mixed signals. What fucking signals, bitch? Never let him work on a fucking train line because he'll be giving wrong signals left, right and centre. Jesus Christ, there'll be an entire ambulance. But the entire show in of itself, I enjoyed the show a lot, but I also loved Addams Family as a kid. Anything about me, like that kind of like the whimsical scary vibe is 100% up my alley. The original Addams well, not the original movies, but the original movies to when I was a child, like the 90s, noughties ones. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. I have set my standards on Gomez and Morticia Addams, and I just really do believe that. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to live up to that, which is fine by me. I'm fine keeping all of my romantic inclinations fictional. That's just, I love to see it. I love my fictional people. I really, really do. But yeah, I enjoyed the show. One thing about me, I never enjoy stuff. Well, I do enjoy stuff straight away, but it doesn't really hit until like a little bit after. But I posted this on TikTok and so many of the comments were like, this is so artistic, babe, love it. New special interest. And I don't necessarily think it's at that point yet, but it has intrigued me. It has intrigued me, definitely. I can definitely see this becoming a special interest. Depends how many seasons they do with it. But I thought Jenna Ortega was absolutely fantastic as Wednesday. I really love honestly, one thing about Eddie Munson and Wednesday Addams, I mean, Eddie Munson's kind of, a lot of people got bullied for the Eddie Munson thing, which was really sad to see actually, because that's not what fandom is about. But one thing that I do love about them too is that they've brought so many artistic conversations to the forefront, and it's been great just going online and seeing so many people other than me. Not that I'm the only artist, you know what I mean, like being able to relate to other people. It's been absolutely great. I love being autistic. Being autistic is great. It's been a bit shit recently actually. My mental health's been in the absolute shitter, and I had to get my tablets increased again. But you know what, generally it's a great ride, babe. It's a fucking great ride. I have a great time. Wild animals, wilder rides, you know the saying. I also thought I would give you a little tour just because it's kind of hard to see where things are and where things lie. So this is what that exterior looks like all of the way around. There is the greenhouse, my angel. I loved the greenhouse. The back of the building as well. In here we have the entrance area. Then you enter through here. To the right is just like a little teacher's room. Do whatever teachers do. And then there's a little secret room in here that is just desk work, because it is a school after all. It is a school, if you couldn't tell. Over here, again, another little seating area with a fireplace. And my mind, the werewolves that come to the school fucking hate Vlad. They don't view Vladdy as daddy. I apologise for my actions. He is the Vlad poster. You know what I'm trying to say. He is Vlad. And this is the secret area. Back through Daddy Vladdy is just another little seat. Lots of seating areas in this place. One thing, you will not be hard pushed to find places to sit in. Then from here we go upstairs. This is a little upstairs area. Again, another seating area. Would you believe it? Out here is just overlooking the courtyard. Back in, little seating room, and then we have the office, the headmistress's office. She also has like a live bear, not a live bear, she has a bear in there, what they're called when they're like stuffed, and there's a little version of him there. That's where he lives. And then through here there is actually a secret little doorway that leads into another secret little doorway in there. Bada bing, bada boom. And then we're in another area of it. And this area is actually just so upstairs through there. It leads you into this area. There's toilets there. And then upstairs here, there's another set of toilets. And then in here, we have the Raven Dance. I fucking love this place. You know what? I had a great time doing this. I'm not into school dances and shit like that. Never really was. But yeah, that absolutely slapped. And then through there, again, is another entrance to the courtyard. So you can get to this section either through this door and sneak through the courtyard, or just through the sneaky door. And then we go back downstairs again, and then you go through here. In here is just a teacher's room. I imagine it's like a fucking matron or whatever. Again, would you believe it? A little seating area. Now we're over in this section on the ground floor of the map. And then down here, there's not much down here. So I'm just going to show you in this little area, just like an entryway to get out through to that area. And then there's also toilets and showers in here and everything. But then if you go upstairs, behind the little Raven Dance, there's a secret staircase. You go up. I don't know where this has gone, but there was a table and chairs there. Why have they moved all the way over there? Excuse me, you naughty. I knew that I'd put them. And then upstairs from here, there's just another little teacher's workspace. That's what that little tower is. And then also this tower, as you can see, it has stairs going up as well. These are just some more dorms, colourful little set of dorm. I imagine this is for like the older kids or the prefects, and then we have this one, which is the werewolf dorm. From this little sitting area, you go outside and it's the outside courtyard. And this is also where the greenhouse is. And this is what it looks like. This is at night, obviously, but I love how it looks. I love the greenhouse, and it's got a skylight and everything that goes straight up there. It's really cool. Love how it turned out. And then we go on to this big massive building at the back. And this bit, I actually, even though I didn't video myself making this, I still put my entire samosi into this. So this is the main entrance to it. We've got a huge seating area over here with like school trophies and stuff like that. Go through these double doors, and this is the dining area, and also vending machines and some lockers, because again, it is a school. Then we have our first classroom here. Outside of classroom 2 and 3, we just have desks and a study space and stuff. So classroom 2 is the art department. So this is where obviously art is made and art is drawn, werewolves and a gargoyle. What else would you need from an art department? And then the final classroom, thought, you know what, fuck it, woodworking / fencing theory. And they've got lots of medals for fencing theory, and they're good at fencing theory. This side's more of just a chill place. So we've got a dining table there for homework or whatever, a little study space. Would you believe it? Another seating area, because what else are you supposed to put in these huge places? Another seating area, 70s style conversation pit. She is very special to me. And then outside here is just a little courtyard area with a nod to the B section that I mentioned. And then in here is just all toilets. A reprieve from the purple, I'll give them blue. So these are like prefect bathrooms or whatever with a full bath. So that's that. And then we go upstairs into the dorm area. So this first one, would you believe it? Another bathroom. People got a shit. And then I imagine this bit is like lost and found / trophies that we've got. And then we've also got a library which looks down into the conversation pit. And then in this dorm, shared by 3 students. Then in this one, another dorm shared by 3 students. This one's like the science nerd bed. And then this one is like the girly girl. But I didn't want to make it too colourful because I knew that I'd be building Enids. And then this side is just I don't know, just a fucking dorm. And we've got the, obviously, plant love and bisexual side. And then just a artsy goth side. Another bathroom. Teacher's hut, another plant loving bisexual, and another girly girl. And then in this one, just another teachers. Do you know who I was thinking of when I was making all these teachers' little thingies? I was actually thinking of Agnes Crumplebottom. And then in this door over here is Wednesday and Enid's bedroom. That's what the floor plan looks like, of the top floor and then the bottom floor. And then over here, we've got the basement, the bottom floor, and then the top floor. And then we've also got like the other bedrooms on the top as well. So yeah, that is the entire tour. And that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, bitch.